This is On the Sidelines with Box 13.
All right, welcome back into another episode of the On the Sidelines podcast. I'm your host, Ethan McReynolds here. As always, my partner in crime, D-Jack, Dante Jackson. D-Jack, we got a lot to talk about today. The Mariners, they get swept and then they sweep. Are they bad? We got a lot to talk about when it comes to the Mariners. The Sounders just opened up Club World Cup play against Botafogo, the Brazilian side. We're going to have Niko Moreno here in studio later in the show to break that one down with us. We got some what's trending as well, some baseball coming at you. So big trade, Shohei Ohtani's return. We're going to talk
showtime.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about all that. But let's start with the Mariners. So they get swept by the Diamondbacks, and then they turn around and sweep the Cleveland Guardians. I mean, this team is so unpredictable. Basically, this entire season, what did you see?
Well, first of all, this is what everybody keeps telling me. This is baseball, the roller coaster, and I'm tired of it. You know, I'd be honest. I'm just wiped out because I live and die with each game, and that's no way to watch baseball. I understand, but I am a fan. I mean, the sweep of the Cleveland Guardians, it just came at the right time. It's exactly what we needed to see from the Mariners, and the pitching showed up, the bats got hot, and I wanted to talk about JP Crawford because, I mean, that walk-off, grand slam?
Oh, man.
On Father's Day, his first Father's Day, and I see you jump straight on X and wanted to say, hey, is JP an all-star?
Yeah, I was going to ask you the same question.
I would say probably not. Now, it's no downgrade to him. He's putting together a solid season. But, you know, he has a couple of players in front of him, I would say. You know what we talked about. He has Bobby Witt Jr. in front of him, Corey Seager, I would say Gunnar Henderson.
I don't know. So I don't know about the last two, but
you don't know about. I mean, and he's up there.
Yeah.
He's in the running, but I don't know if he has a big enough name and a big enough game right now to be an all-star.
As far as name recognition, I think Gunnar Henderson and Corey Seager are both above them, but above JP. But Corey Seager has not had a good season, and he's been hurt. Gunnar Henderson also has not had the best of season. So the All-Star voting just came out. The players ahead of JP in the voting, he was not in the top 5. I have a feeling he was 6th. Jacob Wilson at number 1, the rookie for the A's. He's hitting like 367 this year. Doesn't strike out. He's having a really good rookie season. Bobby Witt at 2, you mentioned him. Those are the top 2, the closest, the narrowest difference between 1 and 2 out of any position group.
So how would you justify putting JP in there when you just named 2 players?
Well, let me finish the list. Number 3, Jeremy Pena. He's having a pretty solid year. 4, Bo Bichette. 5, Anthony Volpe. For me, JP is having a very, very good year. I can't put him ahead of Jacob Wilson or Bobby Witt. I think there's a conversation to be had with Jeremy Pena. He's absolutely far and away better than Bo Bichette and Anthony Volpe, in my opinion.
All right. This season.
This season. We're talking this season. His ranks among American League shortstops, 4th in WAR, 2nd in WRC plus at 147. He's 47% above league average as a hitter, and that's across any position. 3rd in batting average at his position, hitting 293, almost at 300.
Yes.
1st in on-base percentage at 412. He's getting on base over 40% of the time throughout the entire season, and 1st in walk rate at 16.4%. No other shortstop in the American League is over 10.
Now, and somebody else I heard made the point of you always getting a quality at bat when it comes to JP also. You know, whether he's going to walk, he's going to make that pitcher go deep into the count. You know, he looks at least 5 or 6 pitches, and then he's hitting the ball. He's almost hitting 300. And I know they say average doesn't mean a lot these days. They have other numbers and stuff, but nothing's like a 300 hitter, if you ask me. It translates, and JP is having a solid season. I would put him probably 4th or 5th at a shortstop position for the All-Star game. But if he gets there, I would be happy for him. I wouldn't have any problem with that.
Well, and just the fact that he's making a push.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the fact that in this day and age, you know, of baseball with the quality of pitching, the fact that he's even pushing a 300 average is absolutely crazy. And then you talk about the season that he had last year coming out was absolutely abysmal. at the start of this season. And to put together the season that he's putting together now, I mean, a 147 WRC plus.
Yes.
That is incredible.
Yes, and like you said, the 412 on base percentage, that impresses me.
Elite.
Definitely.
That's elite.
He's putting together a season. What more can you say? But as we go to a broader view of the Mariners in general, we never seem to be able to get all those players on the same cylinder, on the same page, going at the same time. It seems like they're taking turns. Cal then cooled off a little bit. Julio is heating up, I guess. JP
Julio's been good.
Yes.
Over the last month, he's hitting just under 300.
Right.
I mean, he's been very good over the last month.
He has been good. And then you have JP. We need all these players at the same time. Like, let's get them at the same time. How can we make that happen?
Yeah. I mean, the only answer is it's baseball. It's just sort of how it goes sometimes.
I just get tired of that lame excuse. It's baseball. Like, it
ebbs and flows. It's such a long season. I mean, when you get down to crunch time in September and you're making a playoff push and then you get into October, that's when you can be, all right, guys, we need to be playing our best baseball. It's like all or nothing right here. But, we're sitting here in mid-June. We still got July, August, September to go. We got 3.5 months to go in the season of playing every single day. We're not even at the All-Star break.
I get that, but I balk at that mentality because you're not going to tell me.
It's not a mentality. It's trying to explain the reality.
Well, but it makes no sense because the Mariners have missed the playoffs by a game or two in the last few years, here and there. Okay? You're not going to tell me a game in April is not just as important as a game in August. It's still a game. So you have to try to win every game, which is, I understand that's impossible, but you can't kick the can down the road every time and say, well, we still have time, because you're going to run out of time. Now, speaking of that, Houston is up, 4.5 games?
4.5, yep.
You're talking about a team that don't give up division leads. They are a great opponent for the Mariners, a nemesis, and I don't see them giving it up.
I'm just saying, I guarantee you the players in that locker room are not like, oh, well, it's okay, I don't need to hit because JP's, had a really good 2 weeks. You know what I mean? It's not
on purpose.
Yeah,
yes.
it's
I get it.
Yeah, so, and honestly, the bats are sort of starting to come into swing. You saw it against the Guardians. Unfortunately,
yes.
they lost last night against the Red Sox. But Jorge Polanco quietly sort of starting to come back. He had a 9-game hitting streak that was snapped on Sunday. He's been solid over the last 2 weeks.
Single.
He had the walk-up single on Saturday, yep. And he's been starting to play the field a little bit more, hitting from the right side, which we had talked about with Anders a couple of weeks ago. It didn't really look like he was fully healthy. The action of Dan Wilson trusting him to play second base, to hit from the right side, sort of tells me that he's getting a little bit healthier. And the results with the bat are showing that as well. 9-game hitting streak.
Yes.
That's not insignificant.
Yes. I wish we didn't have to count on Polanco. He should be the cherry on top.
Right.
You get JP going, you get Cal, you get Julio. Hopefully at some point, we get our outfielder back, with the shoulder. So you get those players going, and then Polanco should be the cherry on the top. So I don't really count on Polanco. It's great to see him heating up. But I was just excited to see Logan Gilbert come back.
Yes.
And kind of capture some of his old form. Now, he's still working his way back. It wasn't the best outing, but 5 innings.
10 strikeouts.
10 strikeouts.
I'll take 10 strikeouts.
Yeah, I think he hit, 96, 98 on the gun. So the velocity was there. The confidence was there. It was a promising outing by Logan Gilbert, and you're finally getting your ace back, and hopefully things will fall in place for the Mariners. You get your staff back in place, and you get some of your players back from injury, and now we're looking up at a team that's going to compete. Definitely.
For me, this Logan Gilbert start, I don't know if you can ask for anything else.
Right.
84 pitches. If he's not on sort of a pitch count his first start back, he goes into that 6th inning and probably finishes it off with the way that he was throwing the ball. His stuff, absolutely disgusting.
Right.
10 strikeouts against
and 5 innings.
In 5 innings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just the one walk. Compare Logan Gilbert's return to George Kirby and how it sort of took George Kirby a little bit of time to ramp up.
Right.
I know Kirby didn't have spring training; it's a little bit different, but still, when you see a pitcher go down, injury, it was out like maybe a month, a little bit more than that.
Yes.
I mean, you expect sort of some time to ramp up to big league hitting and getting into the flow of the game. You saw that with George Kirby, how it took him a couple of starts before he had that 14 strikeout outing 2 starts ago.
Right.
With Logan Gilbert, I mean, you're step one, you're building off a 5-inning, 10 strikeout performance, against a solid Boston Red Sox team. So it's looking up for Logan Gilbert.
Yes.
You have your ace back. That is ginormous.
Right.
I mean, you're not relying on a mostly unproven Brian Wu to anchor this rotation when you sort of have a tough turn through the rotation. Now, not only do you have Brian Wu, who will probably be an all-star come July,
Let's hope
but
so.
you've got Logan Gilbert, your opening day starter. That is incredibly significant for this Mariners roster and the season moving forward.
And as far as Logan Gilbert, I'm just so happy to see it because things should be able to fall in place. These pitchers like a Wu should be able to fall back into his natural position. He's a 3, he's a 4. Now you're facing Brian Wu as a 4th starter. If you're that other team, good luck. And then I must add Emerson Hancock.
He's been awesome.
The way he's held it down while these pitchers were out, I mean, it's been amazing. And of course, Logan Evans. These 2 pitchers have held that staff together while a Logan Gilbert and a George Kirby worked their way back.
Right.
And Logan Gilbert just showed us it's levels to this.
Yeah.
He came out 5 innings, 10 strikeouts. I mean, yes, he gave up a few runs, but that's what you expect when he's working his way back. But he showed you it's levels. I'm this ace, and it was so good to see him on that mound and reach that velocity of the 98 miles per hour. I love seeing that. So I am optimistic for the rest of the season with Logan Gilbert, hoping he can stay healthy.
Yeah, and I think seeing Logan last night was definitely a sigh of relief for all Mariners fans, just because of the nature of a flexor strain injury. Normally that's Tommy John. Normally that's UCL. So the fact that he looked like himself, he's ramping up, and it sounds like he had no issues post-game recovering and everything. I mean, that is a big step for the Mariners in their playoff aspirations this season. You brought up Emerson Hancock.
Yes.
I need to give him some love.
Yes, you have to.
On Sunday, that 6-0 win on Father's Day. Shout out to all the dads out there. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
7 innings, no runs, the best start of his career. He'd never gone more than 6 innings in his entire career. He goes 7 shutout, on just 85 pitches.
Yes.
I mean, absolutely incredible from Emerson Hancock. The last time he gave up more than 3 runs was all the way back on May 12th. So that's 6 straight starts of giving up 3 runs or less. His last 3 starts, the 7 shutout innings against the Guardians. Against the Diamondbacks, he went 5, just giving up 2 runs. Against the Orioles, he went 5 2/3, just the 1 run. Going further back than that, against the Nationals, 5 1/3, 2 runs, 6 innings, 3 earned against the Astros. He's been very, very solid for the past month, and that's what you've needed.
And when we started this podcast, I said we didn't want solid. I will take solid from Emerson Hancock because he's projected your 4th, 5th starter. Fill in here and there. So I take solid. He's been nails. I mean, you've been able to count on him while these frontline pitchers been out. So him and Logan Evans, if you ask me, have saved this season for the Mariners and at least kept them in contact with the division lead. So Emerson Hancock, I mean, hats off to him. I love Brian Wu. I think he should be an all-star. But Emerson Hancock, and I have to put Logan Evans, I kind of count those 2 together. Those 2 together have helped this staff stay together and help the Mariners win and where they at in the standings right now.
And for me, the biggest thing, with all of the injuries they've had to weather has been you just need to tread water until you can get fully healthy at the All-Star break and then really start to hit your groove. And Emerson Hancock is the one reason that the Mariners, not the singular reason, but without Emerson Hancock, this Mariners team is probably under 500 right now.
Yes.
It's a big reason that you mentioned you're within shouting distance of the Houston Astros.
Yes.
It's Emerson Hancock. And, Solid. I know you don't love Solid.
Yeah, no,
but
Solid has a place.
That's what you need.
What we expect out of him, that's great. Solid, he's been great all season.
And without Bryce Miller as well. Right. You don't have Bryce Miller. And for me, I'm not counting on him for the rest of the year. I think what they're going to do is they're going to shut him down. He's out for the next 6 weeks at least.
Yeah, and they probably should.
Which is tough.
And they probably should.
Bryce Miller's got to get cleaned up. Bryce, we want to see you as you, not trying to fight through stuff. Because
I must add before we move on, Dan Wilson. I give him a shout out too for sticking with Hancock. I know they sent him down after that first start where he only went 2/3 an inning, but they brought him right back up, and he's been getting the ball like every 5 days consistently. And I think he's finally found his groove and the confidence. He knows he has the stuff. He's finally found the groove and the confidence, and he has the manager's confidence in Dan Wilson, who has stuck with him, even with some of the not-so-good outings. So I have to give credit to Dan Wilson for sticking to him. A lot of people don't like some of the moves Dan Wilson has made this season as a manager, but I would say that's one great move that Dan Wilson has made, sticking with Emerson Hancock, sticking with Logan Evans. I know he had to, but at the end of the day, he didn't go tinkering. He sent them boys out there, and it's paid off.
It just makes me wonder, with how solid Emerson has been, it just makes me wonder why they gave up on him so quickly at the beginning of the season.
Something wasn't right.
It's not like Luis F. Castillo was some world beater.
Right.
He had the exact same issues that Emerson did, except you don't have the talent, former first-round pick that Emerson Hancock is.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't love Dan Wilson as much in his managerial decisions.
He's still young. He's still a young manager.
Absolutely. I just think we sort of talked about this when the Marine Layer guys were on, but it seems like Dan Wilson is good at all the stuff that Scott Service wasn't, as far as being able to have a good relationships with the players and hitting philosophy and stuff like that. But Scott Service is good at all the stuff that Dan Wilson is bad at, whereas the process, using the bullpen, when to pinch hit, pitch run, those sorts of things. Yeah, jeez. Yeah, there's good times to bunt and there's bad times to bunt.
Yes.
And Dan likes the bunt a little bit too much for my liking.
But he's putting his imprint on this team.
Yes.
I'm sure he'll learn and he'll kind of dial things back and not do certain things in certain situations as he gains more experience. He's still a young manager. I like him. He's a fan favorite. I love the way he has a relationship with the players. He's a player's manager, a player's coach. So I think he has a future here with Seattle, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the Mariners sit 4.5 games outside of the AL West Division lead and the Houston Astros. They got 3 with the Red Sox. Game 2 coming up tonight. And then looking up the schedule right now, they head out on the road. Long road trip. 10-game road trip to Chicago, Minnesota, and then finishing up with a division matchup with the Texas Rangers.
I'm expecting a winning road trip here. This is one of the pivotal most important road trips of the season, if you ask me. I mean, you have to come out with a winning record, and I would love to see them take a few games from the Red Sox in this home series before they go on the road. So the Mariners need to, start winning. They need to start these winning ways because Houston is hot, one of the hottest teams in baseball, and I don't see them looking back. So you have to make sure you bolster that record so where if you don't win that division, at least you get in as a wild card. So the Mariners need to start their winning ways now and stay consistent. I'm tired of the roller coaster. I understand it's just baseball, but to start the season, it was all about series. They dropped the first one, but they take the next ones, they'll win the series. They have to get back to that mentality of just taking a series. Forget the game, let's just win the series.
Yeah, absolutely. With Logan Gilbert back, I feel like the excuses are starting to wane out. we got to gain some momentum.
Is Robles on his way back? Have we heard anything about him?
Yeah, he's going to be out. I'm not counting on him at all this season. But that's a spot that you can address at the trade deadline. So hopefully Jerry Dipoto, Justin Harlander are working the phones and they get aggressive like they did last year. So that's all for the Mariners for this week. Let's get to our conversation with Niko Moreno. All right, joining us now, Niko Moreno from Pulso Sports and Sounder at Heart, back with us for a second time on the Sidelines podcast. We're talking Sounders. They just opened the new competition, the Club World Cup, with a loss to Botafogo, 2-1. Niko, I'll go to you first. What were sort of your takeaways from the match being out there?
Look, I thought it was a great game in terms of the atmosphere, in terms of now you can kind of see what Lumen Field could look like with real grass.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the Botafogo fans gave it a little bit of a South American flair that you don't have usually. I mean, that corner was booming. I mean,
yes.
They never stopped singing. They were pressing. In terms of the game, it was a little bit bittersweet, right? I am a believer that moral victories don't really exist, and therefore, when it comes to a tournament like this, it doesn't help that you just had a decent performance. But in the broader aspect of everything, I think the Seattle Sounders really came out there and proved that they belonged. That was the entirety of what every single player told us. We did not get outplayed. This was the Copa Libertadores, the best team in South America. Maybe not the exact same team. They lost some players, but they got some players right now that Igor de Jesus is going to be going to Nottingham Forest for $20 million. Jair Cunha, the other goal scorer in that game, he's going to go to the same team for probably 15, 17 million. So these are top quality teams because Botafogo is a South American team with European backing, because John Textor, he kind of changed the whole aspect of that club. And that's why the Sounders should feel very proud that in that second half, as soon as Reed Baker-Whiting came in, the team started to push the line of confrontation higher. And Pedro de la Vega and Paul Rafa came to that game. They were able to be more direct. They were able to expose the flanks, and that just changed the game a little bit. But even before that, in that first half, the first 20 minutes, it's kind of all Seattle. Couple of half chances, sure, could have been a little bit better, could have been sharper. Ferreira has the one opportunity where he takes on the defender, hits it with his left. If he puts that on frame, would have been amazing, but he didn't. But the volume of play, the possession, I thought Seattle proved that they belong in this tournament, and that's something to praise.
It just, for me, I think about that, and I completely agree with your analysis. It just makes me frustrated. You talked about the first 20 minutes and how it was all Sounders, and then it all changes after that Nuhu yellow card right outside the box that leads to that goal. In my opinion, absolutely inexcusable for Nuhu to be baited like that into fouling the Botafogo player right outside the box. And this is a recurring thing with Nuhu, with these mental mistakes on this grand stage. It's like, if you were going to get beat in this tournament, if you get outclassed talent-wise, I can live with that. But the mental mistakes, that's something within your control that, I don't care if you have a $20 million price tag, you can keep your wits about you. And Nuhu didn't there. And he got baited. The dude gives him a little extra bump, trying to see if he can instigate, and it works. And I guarantee you that's in the scouting report. And Nuhu needs to be better. It's an absolutely inexcusable foul. And honestly, I think if Nuhu doesn't get baited there, I think the Sounders win that game.
Wow. I mean, that has been a theme all season, even in the MLS season, as far as Nuhu. I mean, I talked about him last week, and I don't think he's had a good season so far. But what do you do if you're the Sounders? There's not many defenders of his ilk that on the roster, so you have to live with him. He needs to play better, but I wouldn't go as far as saying he cost the Sounders the match. I don't think I'd go that far. The match was won before it started. I think Sounders scored 2 goals. Botafogo going to score 3. I just think they're the better side. They're the more talented side. You encouraged by the final score, but make no mistake, this game was, owned by Botafogo, if you ask me. The Sounders, they were the same team we thought they were all season long. They cannot finish. They cannot get the ball in the back of the net. I think we talked about it the first episode that Niko was here, about how the Sounders weren't finishing like they were supposed to. And I think that was the problem right there, is not finishing. They showed themselves well, but I agree with Niko. No moral victories here. They have to get ready for Atletico Madrid.
Well, and it seemed like, at times around net, in the box, the Sounders players were playing a little bit too fast, a little bit rushed. Pedro de la Vega with that little whiff on a nice ball across the box. I mean, that's a prime goal-scoring opportunity right there. Niko, what did you make of offensively how the Sounders presented themselves against a solid Botafogo side.
So a couple of things there. I think two things can be true. I don't think that we can make Nuhu the absolute villain and the only reason why they lost. But he did start the ripple effect that eventually took the air of the sails of a Sounders team that essentially started off very solid. So that is a naive foul. That is something that has become a pattern. And I'm currently, as someone who's always backed them up and has been on his corner and understands what his potential is and what his limitations are, and I feel like he's a guy that should be starting. Now, some of those patterns are becoming a
habit,
right? Exactly. And then he's become a defensive liability where against Vancouver, he's the reason why you start to lose that game. And now against Botafogo, he's the reason why you start losing that particular game. And so, sure, we can go into the Sounders could have gotten in front of goal and scored the chances that they had. Kim Ki-hee could have done better in that service into the box. But he has become a liability. But I'm totally with you in terms of who else then? Yeah. Is it Rebecca Whiting? He came in, he had a good half. I thought he was very good offensively. He gave the team width, especially when Ryan Kent was very iffy. I mean, he was not good on the ball. He was ineffective. So when Reed came and he started using that outside channel, it really helped the team just get some width. But he needs to do it time and time again. And Reed's had injury issues. He's had consistency issues. So that's the reason why you talk to Nuhu and you let him know, look, this cannot keep going. And then maybe you make a decision. Now, in terms of the overall sense of the game, because what was you had a comment after that?
They were playing a little bit fast.
They were playing
with Pedro, with Pedro's whiff being sort of the prime example.
Right, but I still liked it better because they were engaged. They were making Botafogo defend. The setup for Botafogo, they are at their best when their fullbacks get forward, and they have a guy like Alex Telles, former Manchester United, Porto FC. The guy is a quality attacker. Then you got Vintino on the other side, extremely quick, good on 1v1 situations. So when you make him defend, you're keeping them anchored. You're keeping them on their heels. So bringing in Pedro and bringing in Paul Rothrock, it obligated those guys to defend, right? And it stretched out the defense. Paul Rothrock, he's not technically gifted. He's not a European player, but his effort is relentless. And his directness, his savviness, there's a ball over the top of his that usually a player will try to just look for it, bring it down. He doesn't really know where the ball is, but he knows where the defender is. And he kind of just slows down, gets in his way, waits for the ball to get down, and he pushes up the field. So those little things, to me, you know how they got the Bash brothers on the Mighty Ducks? I think Paul Rothrock and Pedro are the Havoc brothers. They create havoc, right? Yeah. Pedro's all over the field. He's inside, he's outside. He makes all these things happen. And then Paul Rothrock with his own, effort, the energy, that engine block, right? That really made some problems for Botafogo.
So let me ask you this, Niko. Do you feel like maybe Coach Smetzer should have brought in that combo sooner? Because it was, I believe, like the 60th minute before he brought those two in, and they
67.
It was actually the 70th.
So 70th. So the 70th. That's even later. Do you think he should have moved them a little sooner, maybe?
Absolutely, 100%. I said this in the post-game show. I thought he was 10 minutes too late. If you see the end of that game, 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes, 5 more minutes, and you probably get the equalizer. I mean, Seattle was on top of Botafogo, and I've heard some Botafogo analysts say, "Hey, well, our coach made some bad changes." Whatever the case was, Seattle was on their game, right? They were cooking. Had there been more time for those two players to come in and influence the game, maybe you get an equalizer. Now I know that Brian's not happy about it. I just saw him today. He kind of walked right through me. We didn't get a chance to talk to him today, but I really do believe that either one, Pedro could have started, which is kind of insane that in a salary cap type of league, your $7 million player didn't start that game. I thought Danny Musovski was in a sphere, in a snow globe. He barely touched the ball. 21 touches overall, very ineffective. I would have liked to maybe see Ferreira stay a little bit longer, maybe put him at the 9, figure out what he could do. Because even when Ferreira cannot be dangerous on goal, he's doing other things. He's linking up, he's slipping up a player. He's got that IQ that maybe Musovski doesn't have. So I think that there were a couple of things that Brian could have done better, including, and most importantly, realizing that game needed a Pedro and a Paul in the 60th minute for him to get back into this game.
What do you make of Pedro and his usage? And I hate making it all about one guy, but he is, the $7 million guy, the club record transfer fee, and he's coming off the bench for 25 minutes a game, with rotation here and there getting his starts. But, and I know that he's got to earn his place, but that's a significant asset, significant resource with the salary cap league that you're not maximizing compared to other teams within MLS. What do you make of Pedro and what we've gotten out of him, a year and a half through after the transfer?
I think it's been good when he's been healthy. And if you look at the all-com stats, I mean, he's had goals, he's had passes, assists, contributions. But beyond that is what he opens up for other players. Every time that Pedro's on the field, he's going to open up gaps, right? And that's exactly what this team needs when they look so flat, so stale at times offensively, that having a guy like that just kind of changes everything. Now, I know Brian wants him to stay more disciplined, more composed, but man, I think that's where his magic is. Right. It's a little bit of that. He's not predictable, right? He's going to come inside, he's going to come outside. So I really wish that Brian would give him a little bit more of a leash more to freedom. Just do his thing, right? Yes. Because if you look at the other side, I thought Severino and Igor De Jesus, they were all over. Igor De Jesus, it was a 4-4-2 to start, but Igor De Jesus was coming back, linking up, picking up the ball in the half spaces, turning around. I mean, they were switching back and forth. I feel like Pedro can do a lot of that, and I don't know if Brian doesn't just not like it, but he doesn't feel like it's effective. But I tend to disagree.
You know what? And I agree with you, because we talked about it at the beginning of this podcast. One of the very first episodes we talked, why is Pedro not playing? Now, we thought it was the injuries, and that's kind of why they were, holding him back, for lack of a better term. Now it's time to let him go. This started at the beginning of the season. He's been in and out of the lineup. He's been coming off the bench for, a few minutes here and there. It's time to let this guy go. He's the $7 million man, and he's talented. You can see the talent. It oozes off the screen. And I don't know. I don't know technical soccer like you, Niko, and very few people do, I might add. But when I look at a screen, I look at the athletes that pop off the screen.
Yes.
And he's one of those ones that just pops off the screen. I feel the same way about Rock with the effort. I like Georgie also with his creativity. So it's players on the bench, it's players on this roster that I feel like should be playing. But I'm not the soccer guy, and Smetcher is a great coach, don't get me wrong. He knows what he's doing. He pushes all the right buttons. But Pedro de la Vega belongs in that lineup, and somebody else belongs in that bench coming off.
Yeah, I think it's difficult because you had that spell bringing in Ryan Kent, and he had the 3 assists in 2 matches, and so you could sort of justify starting him on the left. You want Jesus Ferreira in there, it's difficult, but it's like, hey, Pedro's got to earn those minutes a little bit, right? And I think there was a good spell
when he's coming in at the 70th minute. How can he earn them?
Yeah,
I mean, he got to earn it in 20.
I mean, it's not like it's not like the Sounders have a lack of winger options.
I mean,
they have a lot of quality.
You have Jordan Morris out right now, who would normally be in that lineup all match. So, it's space available. I understand, it's a good problem to have when you have all these players available and they're quality players. But sometimes you got to stick with your big guns. You got to stick with them. And I think Pedro is that guy. He needs to have that chance. Just give him a little rope. Give him that chance. And I think it'll pay off.
He needs to build confidence. You guys have no idea how many times I've heard players say, I need the coach to give me confidence. Yeah. And it's not just in Seattle, it's everywhere, right? You see that whiff, you see those issues that he had maybe in sharpness-wise. That goes along with a player that is trying to do too much in too little time. And if he gets that vote of confidence, he can settle into the game. He can begin to play by instinct. But the effort and that dynamism was always there. I don't know if you guys remember, there's a play where there's a ball that's far too in front of Pedro. He slides off, hits
crashes
the back
into the boards.
He gets up, the ball's still live, and he gets on the ball. That's Pedro magic. That's what I want out of a player. I want somebody that's going to be hard to defend, because the defender thought that ball was done, but Pedro did not give up on that play. And that, to me, to your point, that should earn you some minutes. So essentially, I think that you've said what I've been saying for a long time, is that this team has needed continuity in order to just build confidence, build chemistry. And when you have this rotating door in certain positions, it just doesn't work. And look, Ryan Kent has been good, but the best Ryan Kent that we've seen has been off the bench.
Right.
Then let him get off the bench and let him be the spark plug of the bench and give Pedro his due respect on the starting spot.
Yeah, that's his spot. That's his spot. Now, do you see lineup changes for this upcoming match? I know we're going to get to it, but do you see any lineup changes happening?
I do, and I certainly hope so. And I think that we will see them some forcibly, because if I may get into today's observations.
Absolutely, please do.
Obed Vargas was off to the side today. Kind of a big deal there.
Yeah.
This is the match. This is the -2 practice. So tomorrow we'll see if he's available. But I was a little bit concerned. He did not enter the practice at all. So that could be one. Kim Ki also not out there. So you might have to go with Jay Bell. And then in terms of the offense that we just talked about, there is no way that Pedro does not start against Atletico Madrid. I think he's going to be the guy up there. And I think Paul earned his spot as well. So if it's me, I'm going Ferreira at the 9, Albert in the middle, with Pedro on the right and Paul Rothrock on the left. And I think that's what we'll see. Me and Brian don't see eye to eye in a lot of things, but I kind of know when he's starting to go one way, lean towards a certain formation, and I think we might see those two guys in the starting lineup.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Kim Ki-hee. I was talking to Masvidal during the game. Kim Ki-hee gives up the 2 goals in the air. It was the calf issue, right, that he's battling. Maybe that's something where, he's not as explosive getting into the air. And they sort of rushed him back a little bit, with Yemar, or Jackson Reagan was injured, comes back, but then Yemar's out. Do you want to go to Jonathan Bell? He's sort of not the traditional center back, also plays outside back. So I don't know, maybe that impacted him. I feel like if you have one of either Yemar or Jordan Morris, like that Botafogo
100%.
game is just completely different.
Yemar is your best defender.
Sure.
He is your most dominant defender out
in
there.
the air as well, most physical, and you give up
Absolutely.
you give up 2 goals in the air.
That's his game. That's not Kim's game. I thought Kim was very good in
Yes.
other facets of the game. I mean, he starts a couple of transition moments because he intercepts the ball very well. He reads the game well. He has that the goal-saving tackle in the very first opportunity that Botafogo had. He has a fantastic blocking tackle, but that's not his game. I mean, he's 30 plus. He's a veteran player.
Yeah.
That explosiveness, that ability to get up for one, when you got a guy like Jair Cunha that, like I just said, he's going to be playing in England soon, world class, and Igor De Jesus. In every scouting report that I talked about prior to this game, I said, this guy is an aerial threat. I mean, put the F-15 on his side because he's going to fly through everybody, right?
Yes.
And he did.
Yes.
Yeah.
And speaking broad, really, and I hate to go on another subject, but it just made me think about the Sounders roster. Like, I believe they need to get bigger, taller, and more athletic. I see some changes in the future of this roster. How do you feel about the Sounders getting bigger, taller, more athletic?
I think that there is and this is something that a lot of people have been asking for, and it's not just about the size, but some of the athleticism. I mean, the players that are explosive for the Sounders, they're all getting up there in age, including Yemer Gomez Andrade, right? He's a guy that essentially you're going to have to figure out who's going to be that next generation of players. I've said time and time again that the U22 spot needs to be a striker, because you got to figure out who's the next guy that's going to take over Jordan Morris, who's going to keep the torch, who's going to keep it going. And so, to your point, I do feel like there is a sense in terms of scouting that I've seen that they are going for that bigger, stronger, faster, athletic player, because the league has grown so much that those are the guys that are taking over. Look at Denny Buanga. I mean, the guy is a specimen. Yeah. He goes and goes and goes all game long. You saw him keeping up with Chelsea just this week. He's the one guy that's consistently getting forward. So there is a sense for me that at the center back position and up top, there is a little bit of a need of different type of player that maybe Seattle has had in the past.
Yes.
Well, let's look ahead to their match on Thursday against Atletico Madrid. It's hard to do that without talking about the results on Sunday with PSG absolutely dismantling Atletico Madrid. I mean, I think they had 74% possession. I know Atletico had the red card in the second half, but it was not close. 4-0. Atletico's not going to have their star center back, Longley, former Barcelona center back, so that is a significant loss for them. They do have a lot of depth. They are Atletico Madrid.
Right.
But, Niko, the Sounders are coming off a good performance. Not the result, but I think they can come away with good takeaways. Atletico, not so much. They got embarrassed against the European champs. Is there any world where the Sounders can compete coming off of these two performances against Atletico on Thursday?
When it comes to sports, I never say never. Now, is the possibility high? No. But, I've seen everything. I saw the perfect Patriots lose to the wild card Giants. I saw Argentina in the World Cup lose to Saudi Arabia with a star-studded national team, right? So we've seen it happen in sports. Now, in reality, the percentage is not very high because they are playing outside of their own weight class. And I asked Ferreira that today, and he said, look, we just got to play our game. He basically said they put on their shoes the same way we do. He's like, look, they got in this tournament the exact same way we did. So I like the mentality part, and I think they're going to need that, right?
Do they believe it, though?
Well,
that's the question.
I think
that's the takeaway from Botafogo, right?
Yeah.
Is some of that belief.
And that's not just the belief, but there's also that it's a win-win. I mean, nobody's expecting us to win, right? So you go out there and there's you can't lose, right? You play with a chip on your shoulder and you just let it hang. Just let it loose. Get out there, play your game, right? And that's why some of the guys that we just talked about, I feel like they fit that profile that we're just going to go out there and play. But the reality is that you just said depth. I mean, I'm pretty sure Jimenez is the guy that would take over at center back. I mean,
might be Axel Witsel as well is pretty solid.
Just look at these names, right?
They got Azpilicueta coming off the bench. I know he's at the later end of his career, but
and he's like a fullback, right, as well. But all these guys are. I asked it today. I mean, these are World Cup champions. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got Julian Alvarez, you got Rodrigo De Paul, you
Griezmann.
got Koke, Griezmann. I mean, this is the best of the best. There is literally no way or metaphor that we can kind of coincide when it comes to sports other than maybe like a U.S. basketball team against like Italy or Lithuania or something like that, where where the best basketball is, where the best soccer is Spain, is England. So it's going to be a difficult game. But I do feel like Seattle, because of that attitude of we have nothing to lose, maybe they get out there. Ferreira had a good point today where he said, look, they're coming from a long season. Brian Spencer told us that they've played 50-plus games already, right? And MLS, we're a very quick, physical league, right? So maybe if we make him chase the ball, if we're quick in transition, if we're making him chases around, that's going to get him tired. I heard a whole bunch of players in Atletico talk about the heat and the elements and all of these things. Hey, they're going to be coming in here with some wear and tear, not to mention that
missing a player.
But in Spain, no one is taking a flight from LA to Seattle anywhere in Spain because they don't have those ranges from game to game. So all that is what I've heard in 10 years plus of covering soccer, that guys from South America, from Europe, is like, how do you guys do this all the time? I'm beat. I can't sleep because I need my body to rest.
Right.
I can do none of that because of all this travel. So I think that maybe Seattle can have a couple of components where they might be able to get on Atletico, but it has to happen in the opposite way of what happened in Botafogo. And I said this on X, man, and on social media. Seattle had a window of about 20 minutes, and I saw it. I was like, Seattle needs to score.
Yep.
Botafogo's starting to settle into the game. If Seattle puts away some of those early chances, game changes, right? So with Atletico, if you get a half a chance, a fourth of a chance, you better put your foot, your toe, your tongue, I don't care. You put that ball away.
Yes.
I'd love to see a goal scored with a tongue.
I talked about it last week, and I asked our guest last week, Aaron Majowski, the same question, and I'm going to ask you. The 2022 Sounders, they earned their right through the CONCACAF Championship. All right, you fast forward to 2025. All right, and now they're in the Club World Cup. what team would have a better chance at surviving and advancing? That 2022 that earned the right, or this 2025 team, this iteration of it that's in the actual Club World Cup?
2022, no doubt about it. As a guy that was there in Mexico, seeing that team grind out of a 2-0 deficit in Ciudad de Mexico with 50,000 plus hostile fans, little kids giving everybody the bird, just angry, just that it was raining. I mean, it was a game where Nicolás Odero, that leader, that guy that has that X factor, the difference maker, he put that team on his shoulders. Stefan Frey was amazing. Yeimar Gomez Andrade was all over. Raúl Ruiz-Diaz. I mean, you just had guys that have been there, done that. And even if it was at the end of some of these guys' careers, you saw them make that difference. You saw them just change the game. And then they come over here to Seattle, and they completely took over their game, right? Those two guys I just talked about, Raúl and Niko, not to mention Christian. And yeah, they all had a part in it. But at the end of the day, you don't have those guys right now. You have a lot of talent right now in this team. But is there a guy that I can for sure say, hey, you know what? Don't worry about it. He's about to turn it on. Right. I don't have that. There's players that are very good and that they have sporadic moments where they're like, ooh, there's the magic, right?
Yes.
But none of them are a for sure thing. And that's what you had with that squad back then. It's just you had so many leaders, both on the ball and off the ball, that you were just not going to compare. So that team would have a lot better chance to take over. Not to mention that both Raúl and Niko played in Botafogo. I mean, those guys understand the South American game. I mean, that team was stellar, man. That is the best Sounder team that I have seen.
Okay. All right.
Before we move on, score prediction for Thursday. What do you got?
Whew.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, you put me on the spot. Because what I want to see out of everything is a Seattle team that is dangerous and aggressive. I'm going to go with a 4-2 loss against Atletico Madrid. That, to me, would at least show me that this team was in there, that they left nothing behind, and that they were able to score 2 goals on one of the best teams in Spain, one of the best teams in Europe. So I'll go with that. I'm not going to lie to you or your audience here and tell you, hey, we're going to come up about it. Maybe a draw would be the best case scenario, but I just think that team is going to come in here too strong, too lock and loaded, too needed to not just win, but get that goal differential down. So they're going to go not just 2, not 3, but if they can get as many goals as they can, they're going to try to. So I'm going to go with 4-2 Atletico.
Okay. Because the Sounders are actually in front of them right now because they scored that 1 goal.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
Dante, we're going to move on. What's our next segment?
We got Top 5 Dead or Alive.
Niko, this is our favorite segment.
Yes.
I don't think we did it with you
last time.
I
don't think so.
So it's top 5 ranking.
Yes.
Sometimes we'll all come up with lists and rankings. DJack's got the list today for our top 5, and it is Sounder themed. So DJ, I'll let you take it away.
Yes, all right. I'm gonna go ahead and read it from my paper because I don't want to mess this up, Niko. Because I came up with this list because I just wanted to pick your brain on what you thought about this list. Top 5 dead or alive all-time Sounders. All right, I'm gonna start with 5. I got Stefan Frey at 5. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Jordan Morris at 4. I have Freddie Montero at 3. Niko Ladero at 2. Clint Dempsey at 1. Now, honorable mention is really my guy, Raúl Ruiz-Diaz, but I just had to pay homage to some of those old school people, someone that set this tone. But if I really wanted to do my honest list, Ruiz-Diaz would be top 3 easy. And I don't even know about Clint Dempsey, but when I start looking through his accomplishments, I had to get him up there.
Sure.
But, top 5 dead or alive, all-time Sounders. What you think about that list?
So we'll start at the 5, and I would have to go with Clint Dempsey simply because, look, he did put the Sounders at a different global stage, right? He was the first and probably the only incredibly ambitious move, and by ambitious I mean something that maybe nobody thought it was possible, right? To get at that particular time. So that's why I'll go there with 5. He wasn't here enough. He did not win as much as he could have. He had a heart condition that I think cut his career too short in this town. He was phenomenal, by the way. his flair, he had this swag about him.
Yep.
That's another guy that you knew he was going to turn it on.
Yep.
Tough game.
Captain
you know,
America.
Captain America's going to turn it on. So him and Obafemi Martins were amazing to see, but I still got to put him at 5 because of longevity and lack of trophies, right?
I agree.
I'm going to go with Freddie Montero there next.
Right.
Freddie Montero was a guy that started the franchise. He was the very first Colombian that kind of put MLS on the map in South America. He's obviously top 3 in all scorers of all time. You got to give him his praises, but he also fell really flat in playoffs. When he came to playoffs, he just wasn't there. And so that's why I have to push him down.
Okay, all right.
At number 3, I'm going to go ahead and go with Stephen Fry. Stephen Fry, clearly a leader, the best goalkeeper this team has ever had. He has all the trophies. Trophies he has. I mean, he has been incredible on and off the field, especially as a captain this year. I think he's handled that heat incredibly well. And he's a guy that's just been a cornerstone for this team for a long time. But number 2 and number 3, you know the way I'm going to go. Jordan Morris, all-time leading scorer, the golden child, the Sounder FC product. He's a guy that leads the team all times in scores. I have criticized him when I've had to. I've praised him when I've had to. But at the end of the day, that guy is got so much love for the badge, right? And he has put this team in so many games. So I'm going to put him at the 2. But at number 1, Nicolas Lodero, to me, the best acquisition of all time in terms of effectiveness in MLS. A guy that came in and put your team on the map. A guy that came in and won you MLS Cup. He put you in 2 other MLS finals. He won you another one. He won you the CONCACAF Champions League, first MLS team of all time. To me, what Niko did is almost unprecedented. And you've had guys like Insigne, Pirlo, Thierry Henry. You have guys with way bigger names come in and maybe put teams at the top of soccer in the headlines and all of these things. But when it comes to soccer, when it comes to trophies, no one has done it the way Niko has. So for me, he's the ultimate best time sounder of all time. And boy, does this team miss him on and off the field. He's number 1 for me.
I am shocked.
Yes.
No Raul Ruidiaz on your top 5.
Well, he's not on there.
Honorable mention.
No,
where would you
I have him as my honorable
where would you
mention.
go?
So I could put him on there.
Yeah, it's your
wherever.
top 5.
Oh,
It's your
okay.
top
This is
5.
Dante's list.
This is mine.
got
You
you.
get
Yes.
your.
Oh, my bad. I was going off this list.
No, because like what I was saying was I would like to put him top 3, easy, Rui Diaz.
Oh,
for
yeah.
me,
Oh,
personally.
no. So if
go top
if
3.
I have him, so top 3, I'll go Lodero. I'll go
Raul.
I'll go Raul, and then I'll go Jordan.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I go Raul is because Raul Ruidiaz had the one thing that Jordan hasn't had, which is that Kobe Mamba mentality.
That
right?
finisher.
He's gonna come in and
finisher.
he's gonna be a finisher, right?
Yes.
Jordan, obviously the all-time leading scorer, but he's done it on so many more minutes, so many more matches than Raul Ruidiaz had. So what he did was in a smaller part of the time. And he was just such an elite scorer. Jordan, fantastic in so many other ways, right? He played the wing. He was explosive. He created assists. He was fantastic. But Raul Ruidiaz, he was a dog. Yeah. And that's why Lodero and him were such a perfect combination.
Right. Yes.
He was your Kobe and Shaq, right?
Yes.
I mean, you knew that those guys were going to come to town, and it wasn't about if they're going to win, it's how many they're going to put on us. Yeah. And that's why I got to put Raul Ruidiaz.
And it's not like he was a one-trick pony, but you knew what you were getting. He was a striker. You look it up in the dictionary, it was a picture of him. You knew what you was getting out of him. I agree with you wholeheartedly. He would be number 1 in my personal list, but when you start going through the accolades, you got to pay respect to the Morris, the Dempseys.
Yeah.
But Rui Diaz is definitely top 3 in my opinion.
No, and guys will
All-time
disagree because they'll bring
Yeah.
in the stats and all
Yeah.
this stuff.
Yes,
but,
yes.
but to me, is the eye test. To me, is what you provided on the field, and that's why I cannot put Raul below Jordan Morris. I just can't.
And maybe something that this current Sounders team is missing, that X factor.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
Yeah, Raul
sort of-
Ruidiaz, it's in prime right here.
Oh,
Woo.
man. Yeah.
That'd be dangerous.
Nothing against Danny Musovski, but yeah, we
yeah.
did not have that in that Botafogo game. So, Niko, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate it. Check his work out. Pulso Sports, Sounder at Heart, does an incredible job covering this team. Andy's with us on Fox 13 all the time, so be sure to check him out. He did an incredible job post-game Sounders-Botafogo. You can catch that on the Fox local app. Niko, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All right, back for some What's Trending. D-Jack, what do you got? What's trending around the world of sports right now?
Showtime is back.
Yep.
Shohei Ohtani. I mean, on Monday night, he had his first pitching outing in 2 years since being injured for the Dodgers. And he only went an inning. He had a run. He gave up a run and 2 hits. But it was promising because he reached, I believe, they say he reached 102 on the gun. So
I believe it.
So or 100.2.
Yeah.
The velocity is there. Showtime is back. And he went up to the plate and hit 2 home runs. So, I mean, the rich keep getting richer. Like, the Dodgers, they didn't need another player.
Thank God he's in the National
Yes,
League.
and they
That's
might have
all
one
I'll
of the
say.
best pitchers at the deadline in Shohei Ohtani there on their bench, and he's working his way back. Showtime is back.
It's interesting to see how the Dodgers manage his return from injury. 'Cause, I mean, you think about a normal starting pitcher coming back from Tommy John. He'd do an extensive rehab assignment. Obviously, Shohei, they need him in the lineup every day.
Yes.
So it's interesting to see how they bring him back and just sort of manage that, because they can't just send him out on a rehab assignment.
Right,
I just think it's fascinating.
Well, you saw what they did. They put him in for 1 inning. He pitched 1 inning Monday night. So that's how they'll do it. They'll ramp him up. They'll work him. They have a plan. And I'm sure he's been pitching long enough where he knows how his body feels.
Right.
I'm sure he'll give them feedback on how he feels. But I wouldn't expect him to have a full outing at least until August at the earliest.
Yeah.
But he's working his way back. One of the best pitchers in the game. Surely one of the best hitters in the game. It's just not fair. It's not fair. He pitched an inning and hit 2 home runs. Come on.
And it's painful to think how close he was to coming to the Mariners.
Was he?
Oh, yeah. The Mariners were the favorites. They had the most international pool money saved up. They were trading for it left and right. They had the most money to give Shohei, and then he shocked everyone and went to L.A. to be with Mike Trout.
Right.
But it was the Mariners who were the odds-on favorites to land him.
Yes.
And then Shohei sort of pulled the rug up from under him. A lot of things would be different.
What could have been, should have been.
What could have been, yeah. Other news around baseball, blockbuster trade. We're in mid-June. We already got a blockbuster trade. Rafael Devers, one of the, I think you could call him the best offensive third baseman in the league right now, traded from the Boston Red Sox.
Hold up, I'm going to stop you right there. Who? Are we sure he a third baseman? Because that's part of the rub there.
That's a great point.
That's
Apologies.
the reason for the contention
let
there.
me correct myself. One of the elite offensive players in our game of baseball today was traded to the San Francisco Giants for 4 players, a pair of prospects. Jordan Hicks, who used to be an elite reliever for the St. Louis Cardinals, is now a starter, is hurt, hasn't really been very good, and I think another left-handed pitcher who was optioned to AAA, former solid prospect who hasn't really made it out in the big leagues. Not a big return. The Giants are taking on the remaining, I believe it's 8 years and $280 million or something like that of his mega contract that pays him through his age 36 season. So that's not insignificant.
Right.
But it just seems like the Boston Red Sox just wanted to cut bait with a disgruntled star.
And his last at bat with the Boston Red Sox was a home run to help sweep the Yankees. I mean, how ironic is that?
The timing was something.
And then they ship him off to San Francisco. You're talking about one of the better players, offensive players in the game right now, and the Giants just got him. He refused to play first base. Now, his natural position was third base, or is third base. They brought in Bregman, and Bregman, I guess, is a better defensive player.
Absolutely. He's one of the best defensive third basemen.
Yeah, one of the best third basemen
Devers,
in the game.
not a very good defensive third baseman.
And Devers refused to work. It's a bizarre story to me. He refused to work. He said, no, you told me I'd be DH, that's all I'm doing. And you're talking about one of the top paid players, not only top offensive players. I mean, they paid him a big ticket to be a player, and he refused to play. I don't know how to feel about that. I understand you have a certain natural position that you become accustomed to, but when you're making that kind of money for that kind of organization, you kind of got to do what they tell you to do. You're still an employee. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I mean, when you're right, this all starts from when they signed Bregman and Devers was upset. They were moving him to DH, but he's like, okay, fine, I'll do it. Getting moved to DH is not that big of a deal. Being asked to step in at a different position in first base is a bigger deal, but for him to just get petty and be like, oh, you told me I'm a DH,
Yes.
just still mad about getting moved from his natural position. When he's not a good defensive third baseman, it's better for the team, for Alex Bregman, who helps this team offensively and is a big addition in the offseason, to get mad at something that helps the team, and not being willing to sacrifice at all for your brothers.
Yes.
That rubs me the wrong way.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, what would you have done if you were in the Red Sox position? Because they didn't get a lot. I mean, they needed a team to take all this money off their hands,
Yes.
and maybe they can use that freed up money to do something else. But what were you going to do? Because you've got this guy who's clearly toxic in the clubhouse.
Yes.
And, he's not willing to sacrifice for the guys next to him.
I kind of I'm reserved, kind of pause to say it, but he's a selfish guy.
Yeah.
He's a selfish player.
What he was doing was absolutely selfish.
I understand. Okay, you don't want to play the position. I get it. And, it's like I want to take my ball and go home. It's like a little kid, like he never grew up. So I have a problem with this. Now, if I'm the Red Sox, I just find that clause in the contract where he's not doing what he's asked to do, and I send him home. I'm not sending him to another team and get a bag of balls for him? You talking about I'd send him home until he's ready to come back and start taking some of that payback. That's what I would do if I was the Red Sox. I wouldn't get him a get out of jail free card and just send him wherever he wants or send him to the Giants. No, he'd be at home. He'd be getting his pay cut because he's not performing, or not performing, but he's not doing what they ask.
Right.
So I would definitely just send him home if I'm the Red Sox.
It's an interesting, and I mean, it also raises the question: your Seattle Mariners need a third baseman. That's sort of Ben Williamson has been solid, but I think there's room for offensive improvement at that position. Absolutely. I mean, Rafael Devers, he's a guy that I've had my eye on for years. Like, man, I want that guy because he just hits. It doesn't matter. The Mariners need a guy like that in the middle of their lineup. The Mariners have the prospect capital absolutely to get a deal done.
I don't think Boston gave him that call. I don't think so. I don't think this was open to all teams.
Yeah,
now, they were smart. They got him to the National League, so he wouldn't. If they meet up in the World Series, he can hurt them. But pretty much all season, he cannot hurt them. They know what kind of player this guy is. They know that he can come back and haunt them. So I don't think that you want to give him to a contender like the Mariners. For sure not the Yankees.
Right.
The Houston Astros. No, you don't want him to go to any of those teams where he can come back and send you home. So they were smart. They sent it to the Giants, and I think that it wasn't open for everybody because the Mariners should and would be in that running. I would say.
My question is, when the Mariners looking at this, I mean, the character concerns are definitely there. Is he somebody that you would be, specifically the character concerns? Would you be concerned at all bringing a guy like that in?
The way he hit, yes. Yes, when you the Mariners.
You would want him. Or
yes,
because
I would want him. Definitely. It's a no-brainer. It's a non-starter. He'd be playing third base today. Mm-hmm. With the need and we talk about the Mariners being urgent and having that sense of urgency to get. Now, the Red Sox, they have plenty of championships. Yankees, plenty of championships. Right. Mariners, never been there. So we can't make the same choices and we can't get rid of the same players that they do. It's like we talked about earlier in the show. It's levels to this. And Mariners are not on that level to where they can just poo-poo a player like Devers. If a player like Devers became available, character issues or not, he would be playing third base yesterday for us.
Absolutely. It's not the best look for the Boston Red Sox. They got rid of Mookie Betts and Rafael Devers in a 5-year period. 2 homegrown elite players that the Red Sox are shipping out.
Now, the Betts, I would say that's not a good look because it seemed like they gave up on a young, promising player. Now, this Devers, he kind of forced their hand by not participating, taking his ball and going home. So I don't really ding the Red Sox for this Devers move. The Mookie Betts, that's a different story, I believe. So Devers, more power to you, man. Good luck over there with the Giants. Wish we could have had you here with the Mariners.
Yeah, yep. Elsewhere around the world of sports, we'll breeze over this. Desmond Bane getting traded to the Orlando Magic for four first-round picks. Desmond Bane is an incredible player.
Yes.
26 years old, 19 points per game this past season, 39% from three-point range, I think, on over 6 attempts per game. So, I mean, he was incredible, and he was really good. 5 assists per game, really good while Ja Morant was suspended at the beginning of the season.
He expanded his game.
You know, if a player like Desmond Bane's getting 4 first-round picks in return, that's a big return. You wonder if, like, a guy a tier above, a superstar even, in his prime at 24-year-olds, I don't know, say a Luka Doncic would get if he was traded, if some team idiotically even considered the concept of trading him.
Yeah, you ain't gonna let this Luka thing go.
Ridiculous. He got one first-round pick. Are you kidding me?
You ain't gonna let this Luka thing go.
Right here. 1 first-round pick for Luka Doncic.
Yes.
After he took you to the NBA Finals.
And Bane gets how many?
4. And a pick swap.
Yes.
And Cole Anthony, a young and promising point guard.
And KCP, a nice veteran.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
I'm going to pass out.
I
can't do this.
Don't lose it,
Oh,
man.
my God. Okay. I just need to get that off my
but
chest.
I must say, Desmond Bane has expanded his game with Ja Morant out of the lineup so much.
Yep.
I mean, he took over point guard duties. He can play make. He can shoot. He can definitely defend. He's a nice player. He's a nice piece for Orlando. Now, is he worth that much? I mean, the story, you know what I'm saying? Only time will tell. But to compare the two packages that the Dallas Mavericks received for Luka Doncic compared to what the Memphis Grizzlies received for Bane, it's not even a contest. No. The Grizzlies got the better deal, but Bane is not the better player. I mean, we all know that. So.
Well, I mean, looking at from the Magic's point of view, they're going to be dangerous next year. You've got Paulo Banchero,
right.
Seattle represent, O'Day alum. You've got Franz Wagner, very good secondary option. You got Jalen Suggs, who's going to be an all-defensive type guy, Gonzaga alum. Shout out GU.
You got to stay healthy though.
Yeah, that's fair. And then you add Desmond Bane. This team is going to be really good. They're young. They're exciting. By the way, the Thunder have a 3-2 lead in the NBA Finals.
Yes.
They could win it on Thursday.
Yes.
If they get it done, how are you going to feel about it?
I don't like it. I think I made it perfectly clear that I hate it, and I hate them. And it's not going to change. The Zombie Sonics, I refuse to call them the Thunder. They're up 3-2. They've always been the favorites, so they probably will take this championship. More power to them, but I don't like it. Bring back our Sonics.
Bring back our Sonics. Yep, definitely. Hopefully the Pacers can and Tyrese Halliburton can pull something out. Rabbit out of the hat. Whatever they got to do.
I mean, a player of his caliber, he didn't even make a field goal last game. Game 5. He didn't even make a field goal. It was the first time since 1958. A player of his ilk didn't make a field goal. So
only 6 shot attempts too.
And so
he stopped shooting.
They say he's not healthy. You got to sit down because T.J. McConnell. I watched some of that game. T.J. McConnell is playing. He's at the energy he's bringing. He's at the top of his game right now. He's helping this team. If you can't help this team, I don't care what your name is. You got to sit down. And you can't be selfish. And your ego makes you stay in the game. You're in there limping and you're not helping the team. Go ahead and sit down and let your brother take over. McConnell is playing lights out right now.
Yep, definitely. All right, well, that's going to do it for us for this episode. For Niko Moreno, D-Jack, Dante Jackson, I'm Ethan McReynolds. We'll see you next time on The Sidelines.
Let's go!
On the Sidelines is available wherever you get your podcast.